You space bastard! You killed my pan!
Okay, this is my review for movie Silent Night, Deadly Night. It's from 1984. I've always kind of known about it. It's one of those it's a very specific genre, horror Christmas movies. So a mashup of Christmas and horror. I just did a review of a movie called Rare Exports, which is another one that kind of fits into that category. And this one was actually showing at the Alamo as well. That's where I saw the last one. So they're kind of doing horror movies with Christmas themes during December, which I like. So I went and saw this again, and it's unknown cast. The director isn't a known person. It's a very, very low budget independent horror film from the 80s. Surprisingly, it came out the same week as the first Nightmare on Elm Street, but it was beating it, and this is actually beating that in theaters. It's doing a lot better. But then, of course, there's a lot of controversy around surrounding this. So a lot of PTA, parents groups, probably religious groups, they all started boycotting it and protesting it because with the poster and the trailers, and it's predominantly featuring Santa Claus as a serial killer, so they had to be all up in arms about it, and it killed the movie. So after a week in theaters, they pulled it and stopped distributing it. So it was doing well, was beating Nightmare on Elm Street, and lost that eventually. So it got pulled. So has that cult status to it because it got pulled for being, I don't know. It is pretty violent. There's some graphicness to it. I'll get to it, but I think it was more the fact that it's depicting Santa as a serial killer was the whole reason. The whole controversy, and which I mean, they're not saying it's people dressed up in Santa costumes, but whatever. So going into this, I actually thought I didn't really know what to expect from the plot. I didn't even really read much about the plot, like online or anything. I was kind of assumed it was about a serial killer dressed in a Santa costume, which we get to, but it has a pretty good backstory to it. So there's a boy, named Billy. He's really little. He's like 8 years old. They're going to visit his grandpa, and at the same time, there's a guy robbing a convenience store, kills the clerk, and he's out on the road. His car breaks down, and Billy's family comes up behind him, and Billy's mom and dad get killed, and he's forever scarred by this scene that he witnessed. Then he goes to like a boys' home. And then we show him again later when he's a little bit older at this boys' home, and he has this obviously a huge fear of Christmas. He doesn't want to be around anybody that looks like Santa, so he has these disciplinary problems. But the mother superior that's running this school is just really mean to him and just tries to beat him into being a better kid. And I mean, so I'm seeing this. I didn't really know much about the plot. I'm like, okay, this is gonna be interesting. This kid's gonna be really messed up after seeing his parents, and then was making it worse. And eventually we get to him being 18, and he works for a store, and it's Christmas time, and things go off the rails when they ask him to dress up as Santa for the kids that are coming in. The person that was originally going to play Santa was sick, and so they ask Billy to do it, and he just loses it. And that's the rest of the movie. He goes on this killer rampage. So I was surprised by the story. I thought it was going to be a little more mindless than that, because it's not a really well-known movie to most people, but it had I think it had an interesting backstory to it with all that happening to him, and he just kind of has a break in his mind because of all the stuff that's happened to him, all this trauma. Oh, and then I was gonna say, yeah, so you kind of get the fact that this is a little bit on the heels of Halloween, John Carpenter's Halloween. That was 78, and this is 84, so it's quite a bit afterwards. But even in the tagline, it's like one of the taglines is "You survived Halloween, and now survived Christmas." It's kind of going for that same effect. I think it worked well. It did spawn 4 or 5 sequels, so they milked it out after this. I don't think the other ones are nearly as good, but I'm just kind of guessing. There's a I was surprised at the amount of gratuitous nudity in this movie. It's there's a lot. So if you want to see a horror film with a lot of nudity, throw this on if you can find it. I have a feeling it was probably a hard movie to find on DVD or just to rent somewhere. Probably even hard to find online. But I don't know about that. But anyways, so yeah, other movies, kind of like I mentioned with rare exports. There's Black Christmas, came out before this, was like 74. And there's another movie called Christmas Evil. That was 1980, so that was before this as well. Two other ones I'm probably going to check out. I think Black Christmas is supposed to be pretty good, so hopefully that'll be my next one. It came about 10 years before this. So yeah, good movie. I'm giving it a 3.5 out of 5. It's a good slasher movie. If you like 80s, I like 80s horror movies, 80s slasher movies, so if you like that genre, you'll definitely like this. Something interesting to watch for Christmas and all that, so I'd check it out if you could, if you want to, interested in any of those genres, horror, Christmas, and all that. So, okay.